Welcome back. This is Sage. You're watching 𝐊𝐴𝐼𝐴 TV live from Sydney, and this is the last show of the day, the last trade. Let's get started with today's market close commentary. The Australian share market is heading for a positive closing on Wednesday, snapping the previous session's losses, led by gains in tech, healthcare, telecom and consumer staple stocks. The market witnessed broad-based buying, with all indices barring energy and utilities trading in the green. And the S&P ASX 200 was trading up by 49.10 points, or 0.68%, reaching 7,311 at the close. And early today, the index opened marginally lower following weak cues from the US markets, while stimulus tampering by the Reserve Bank also dented investors' sentiment. However, the market staged strong recovery and rebounded as much as 0.9% to hit an intraday high of 7,327. The persistent concerns around the COVID-19 cases in the country's most populous state of New South Wales capped the market's gains. In a bid to control the rising cases, the New South Wales government has decided to extend the lockdown in Greater Sydney after the state recorded 27 new cases in a new development. The curbs have been extended until 12:01 a.m. on July 17th, and social distancing restrictions in regional areas have also been extended accordingly. And moving on now, let us look at the stock market that created the buzz today. The Australian copper gold exploration company Ascari Metals made a strong debut on the ASX, surging 35% to hit the intraday high of 27 cents against the listing price of 20 cents. The mining firm has successfully raised 5.75 million Australian dollars via its public listing of shares. The company intends to use fund proceeds to explore and develop the portfolio of copper and copper gold projects located in New South Wales and Western Australia. Besides, the miner also aims to complete exploration activities at the Burracuppin Gold Project in Horry and Copper Project and the Mount Maguire Gold Project. Split payment shares jumped 5.13% to hit the intraday high of 61.5 cents Australian after the buy now pay later player announced a global launch of its in-store offering. The move will empower its customers to use their credit cards to pay in instalments using Split for in-person and phone purchases from participating merchants. And Split in-store solutions will facilitate shoppers to use Apple Pay and Google Pay accounts via Split using Pay by Link with a Split QR code, text message or email when buying from participating merchants. And as per the company, the platform was developed amid growing merchant demand, as evidenced by the recent signing of multiple new merchants to launch Split in store. The company estimated that new merchants will add over $1 billion in combined addressable sales volumes. The share price of investment management firm Challenger Limited rose as much as over 13.71%, reaching $6.22 Australian after the American private equity and alternatives firm Apollo Global acquired a strategic stake in the company. The firm, along with its insurance affiliate Athene, have agreed to acquire a 15% minority interest in the company from an existing shareholder, Caledonia Private Investments Pty Limited. This is Athene and Apollo's shareholding in the company increasing to 18%, worth 720 million Australian dollars. And now, before we look at more Australian shares that were in the news today, it's time for a short break.
Hi, this is Andy Liu broadcasting from 𝐊𝐴𝐼𝐴 Media Studio in Australia, and I'll be hosting the new 𝐊𝐴𝐼𝐴 Wellness Show. The half-hour show will cover topics from how wellness as a concept has become even more significant during COVID, to how becoming vegan may improve your health, and much more. We are excited to showcase our live streaming show to our audience of millions overseas and in Australia. Tune in to 𝐊𝐴𝐼𝐴 TV and join me.
Welcome back, Sage here. You're watching 𝐊𝐼𝐼𝐴 TV live from Sydney, and this is the last show of the day, the last trade. The share price of Woodside Petroleum declined as much as 2.94%, reaching $23.64 Australian, in line with other ASX-listed energy stocks, which witnessed selling pressure on Wednesday owing to falls in oil prices. The crude oil prices tumbled on Tuesday after the OPEC nations cancelled a meeting as major oil-producing nations could not reach an agreement for crude oil supply. And meanwhile, the oil and gas major, in an exchange filing, said that it has completed its acquisition of FAR's interest in the Rufisque offshore, Sangomar offshore and Sangomar deep offshore joint ventures. A final completion payment of $126 million was paid to FAR, while additional payments of up to $55 million were done for contingent on future commodity prices and timing of the first oil. Next up, the software firm BetMakers Technology rose over 4% to reach $1.15 Australian after the company signed a multi-year live streaming agreement with Sports Information Services and Racecourse Media Group. And the deal includes the distribution of live horse racing, vision and wagering content from Britain and Ireland to approved corporate bookmakers in Australia. Shares of Valour Resources Limited rose as much as 15% as well to 1.2 cents after the base and precious metals explorer said it has acquired 5 uranium projects in the Athabasca Basin, Canada. And Valour said 4 projects were acquired through direct stakings by the company, while a binding agreement was signed for the 5th project. The company also informed the deal to purchase 100% of the Pendleton Lake project, which entered with 2 individuals for 5,000 Canadian dollars cash and 5 million shares of the company. Shares of workplace management software provider Damstra Holdings Limited also made the news today, rising as much as 4.9% on Wednesday. The company stated its unit Damstra Technology Pty Limited has signed an extended multi-year master services agreement with existing customer NBN Co, Australia's national wholesale broadband provider. Emerging lithium miner Sayona Mining Limited has also made the news, gaining as much as 12.2% to 11 cents on finding the high-purity spodumene at Canada's project. The company said that tests have confirmed that spodumene from Sayona's Orthia lithium project in Quebec, Canada, can be refined to produce high-purity lithium hydroxide. Rotogrow International Limited is next up. The cannabis cultivator saw its shares falling nearly 5% to 4 cents after its Canadian unit executed a purchase and sale agreement with Wolf Island Cannabis Inc. The agreement includes a $380,000 Canadian dollar technology purchase order for RGI's patented and proprietary rotational garden systems and plant nutrient management system. And also in the news is the mineral explorer Trig Mining Limited, who said that it has completed successfully the lake trenching and test pumping program for its 100% owned Lake Throssell sulphite of potash or SOP project. As per TMG, brine pumping trials from the test trenches have demonstrated the abstraction potential of the lake service aquifer. In addition, the brine extraction from the trial trenches and test pits support the modelling required to upgrade the mineral resource. And now, before we look at more Australian shares that were in the news today, it's time for a short break.
Tune in to stay updated while on the move.
We will tell you where the crypto craze has reached,
Where the property market is headed next.
what the world is doing to become more environmentally friendly.
Apart from tracking the daily market charter.
Be on top of the latest news and announcements
With 𝐊𝐚𝐥𝐤𝐢𝐧𝐞 TV.
Good afternoon, welcome back. Sage here, and you're watching 𝐊𝐴𝐚 TV live from Sydney. And this is the last show of the day, the last trade. And the next shares that made the news today were MyDeal.com Limited, an online retail marketplace for home and lifestyle products, provided an update ahead of the company's 4th quarter financial year 21 quarterly report. And according to the update, the unaudited results for the financial year 21 show MyDeal has delivered record gross sales of 218 million Australian dollars. The release said that the gross sales were driven by continued growth in active customers and label products. Magellan Financial Group also made the news, issuing an update on the funds under management and performance fees. For the June quarter, the funds under management increased to 113.9 billion Australian dollars, up from 106 billion Australian dollars in the prior quarter. The group is also entitled to estimate performance fees of approximately 30 million Australian dollars for the financial year ended June 2021. Australian miner Sandfire Resources said that it has been granted a mining licence for its Motheo copper mine in Botswana. The contract will have an estimated value of 648 million Australian dollars over an initial term of 7 years and 3 months, with a provision for a 1-year extension. And on this note, let us see how the Asian markets are trading today. The Asian markets were trading mostly lower on Wednesday, barring China, tracking the weak global cues. Japan's Nikkei fell 1.25% lower, while Singapore's Straits Times plunged 1.7%. Taiwan's weighted index was also trading in the red, with 0.7% losses. In a similar trend, Hong Kong's Hang Seng was down over 1%, and New Zealand's benchmark S&P NZX 50 closed marginally lower. India's BSE Sensex also traded marginally lower, and bucking the trend, however, China's Shanghai Composite rose 0.35%. On Tuesday, the global equity markets traded lower as the slump in the crude oil prices and rising expectations of a hawkish Fed report due to be out on Wednesday waved the red flags for investors. In the overnight trade, Wall Street ended on a weak note, and the Dow Jones fell 0.6%, while the S&P 500 dropped 0.2%. The tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite registered a gain of 0.17%. Thanks for joining us on that report. That's all for now in the last trade. With our existing operations in Australia, New Zealand, UK and Canada, 𝐾ALKINE Media has launched its operations in the US markets. And every day in our first show, the Global Markets Updates, you can get the latest and important news of the US and UK markets from the overnight happenings. So on that note, I shall see you tomorrow as close as possible to 10:30 a.m. live from Sydney, and Sage signing off for now.